swear that the evidence that I will give is the truth, nothing else but the whole truth. So help me God.
Thank you, sir.
I, Lawrence Jassy, swear that the evidence that I will give is the truth, nothing else but the truth. So help me God. I'm the operations director for the Grain Marketing Board.
Thank you, sir.
I, Clemens Guta, the Finance Director of the Grain Marketing Board, swear that the evidence that I will give is the truth, nothing else but the whole truth. So help me God.
Thank you, sir.
I, Rodin Museche, the Company Secretary for the Grain Marketing Board, do hereby swear that the evidence that I'm going to give in this Parliament is the truth and nothing else but the truth. So help me God.
Welcome, back, sir. My day today, right? Mr. Chair,
Honorable.
on the 23rd of October 2019, we voted a letter to you. I'll read out the letter and I hope you have a copy of the letter as well. The committee is inviting you to a meeting on Tuesday 7th of May 2019 at 10 o'clock in the Senate chamber. The purpose of the meeting is for you to brief the committee on the progress of silo repairs funded by the Grain Millers Association of Zimbabwe. That's the brief that we want from you. May you take the floor.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Yes, I confirm that I received the letter. Right. I confirm that I received the letter. And before this committee, I'm going to give the brief about silo repairs. On the 22nd of March in 2017, the Grain Marketing Board submitted a list of capital projects that required attention, and we submitted this to the Ministry of Agriculture. Amongst the list that we submitted was silo rehabilitation, which included water reproofing of all the 12 silos that we have in the country, which are Karoi, Magunje, Mukwichi, Lion's Den, Banket, Norton, Chegutu, Concession, Chiweshe, Murewa, Bulawayo, and Aspinda. The tender had been awarded to a company called Adechem, and all the procurement procedures had been adhered to, and an award was done by the State Procurement Board, and the contract commenced on the 1st of April 2017. Payments were done as follows. Payments were being done after completing stages. There were stages that were agreed between the contractor and ourselves as GMB that if you do this stage, we come and carry out an inspection. If we are happy, we issue an inspection certificate and then a payment is done. Just like when you're building a house, you get a stage foundation, you're paid for that. If you do up to window level and so on and so forth. And the payments were done from two sources as far as GMB is concerned. Number one, payments under normal circumstances, and this is how we do it. when an invoice is raised, we submit our request through the Ministry of Agriculture, who is our parent ministry. This contractor has finished this stage, and here are his invoices and a certificate of completion of work. We kindly request you to pay. Then Ministry of Agriculture would forward these requests to Ministry of Finance, because these are government projects, and therefore payment is going to come from Treasury. We were then being instructed by Treasury to pay the contractor from a GMB account which is resident with the Reserve Bank. And this is a GMB grain purchases account. When millers or anyone buys grain from GMB, he deposits his money into that account. And therefore, that was the account which we were being instructed by Treasury to pay from. The second source was payment from GMB from sales of silo products. Remember, GMB had a commercial division within it, where we were selling wufu, where we were selling packaged rice, salt, and so on. So we also used part of that money to pay for the silo rehabilitation, especially waterproofing. And we've got evidence to that effect. And I submitted to the clerk of court the invoices, the bank payments that were being done, and also the certificates, stage certificates that were completed and approved by our engineers. So those were the sources of money that we used to pay. And as far as we are concerned, the job was completed, well completed. For the first 10 silos, concrete silos, they were completed by the 10th of October 2018, and the final certificate was done and the contractor was paid. For the steel silos, that is Chiweshe and Mukwichi, because they needed removing of the old steel and putting new sheets. Those were completed in April. The payments were completed in April this year. GMB has not experienced any maize quality deterioration since the waterproofing was completed, and we are quite happy with the work that was done. Thank you, Chair.
You're welcome, sir. Thanks for the brief reports. Let me just read something for you and then for Honorable Getty. This was on the 22nd of April 2018. Mr. Kalekai Chunga, PR manager for Community Association of Zimbabwe, said, I quote, "The association is waiting for an audit report indicating how the 8 million extended to GMB last year was used before releasing fresh funding. We are holding on to our 35 million, which we intend to extend towards the refurbishment of GMB silos. Last year we gave GMB 8 million, and if things look right in the audit report, we will release the money to them." Close quote. Said Mr. Schultz. Mr. Musaraba said today, Shimas gave GMB 9 million in 2017 for the rehabilitation of silos. He went on to say, there was an agreement between GMAS and GMB that the loan
Thank you, Honorable. Grain Marketing Board is a state entity, and it is not allowed to go into any loan agreement with any institution without borrowing powers from government. And as far as we are concerned, we did not go into any loan agreement with anyone. We didn't sign any contract with anyone. And we, as far as we are concerned, we did not receive money from anyone other than from Treasury, RBZ, and our own fund.
So can you confirm that you never received funding from the Grain Millers Association of Zimbabwe in 2017, as alleged by Mr. Msarara and his PR manager?
There was no money deposited into GMB account from GMAS. If they did, perhaps through Treasury, not to our
We're talking about GMB.
As GMB, we didn't receive any money from any other source other than Treasury, RBZ, Treasury, and our own funding.
Did Treasury okay. Did the Minister of Finance or the Treasury approach you and told you that you have to do an offset agreement with GMAS?
All we know, Chairman, is that GMAS buys maize just like any other person. And as far as we are concerned, if there is any money that they gave to Ministry of Finance, we are not aware of that. As far as GMB is concerned, they buy maize just like any other miller.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mtina. Honorable members, I've read what you said. You've read the presentation. If you want any clarification, then we can clarify it. You are free to ask. I open up to you, Honorable Mr. Kawan.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Just a clarification, when Grain Marketing Board say GMAS are treated as any other buyer, I need clarification on whether GMAS is treated as one entity or they come in their individual capacities as members of that association. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable. When they are buying maize, they don't buy maize as GMAS. Individual members within GMAS come and buy maize from the Grain Marketing Board.
Supplementary Chairman. So therefore, it may be incorrect to say GMAS come to buy from us as individuals. They don't come to buy as GMAS, but GMAS members come to buy as individual entities. Thank you, Chair.
I can confirm that.
Any further questions? Honorable Chama?
I just want to know, I heard they say that the silo is for the government. So if you are getting money from the government, why your mills have the same price with those on the private?
I didn't quite understand the question. Sorry.
Okay, she's
I'm
asking
saying-
about the price of milling.
Yes.
Yeah, but we'll come to that later on.
Okay.
Let's finish this.
Okay. I may want to know the relationship that exists between GMB and the Grain Millers Association of Zimbabwe. What is the marriage like?
Thank you, Honorable. GMB is a government parastatal, and our role is to secure maize and sell it to millers and also give maize for social welfare. GMAS is an association of millers, and therefore the relationship between them and GMB is that we provide raw materials to them, not for free. They buy maize and wheat from the Grain Marketing Board. The relationship ends there.
Thank you, Chairman. Just for clarity on the when it regards importing grain and wheat, maize and wheat from outside the country. Do they import via GMB or they import on their own?
They import on their own, they don't do it through the Grain Marketing Board.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Mtena, I wanted to find out, did you ever receive any funding directly from the RBZ for silo repairs? Number one, I've got a couple, if you may take note. Number one. Number two, you said the silos were paid from two sources. If I heard you well, one was from GMB Grain Purchase Account, which is resident with the RBZ. And then secondly, it was from silo product sales. And then you said that on the GMB Grain Purchase Account resident at RBZ, you were instructed by Treasury to pay Adachem, who won the tender, who was doing, I believe, the pay for the silos. And then please can you further explain that to us? And then if you have figures, I would like to know the 10 silo cement that were repaid by 10 October in 2018, how much did you pay for the 10? And then how much did you pay for the 2 steel silos? So we're just trying to make a reconciliation to see if your figures are balancing out from what is, what the main question is, the 8 million that you presumably were funded by GMAS.
Thank you, Honorable. Yes, like I said, sources of funding came from 2 sources. 6,318,627.63 came from Treasury through RBZ, and it was from that the grain procurement account. And then 1,016,281.73 came from GMB funds. And that gave us a total of 7,334,909.36. That's the amount of money that we paid to Adachem, the company that was contracted to carry out waterproofing. Thank you, Honorable.
Just out of interest, do you happen to know who Adachem are?
As far as we are concerned, Honorable, there were 10 companies that submitted their bids. And Adachem is the company that won the contract.
Supplementary Chairman. I think I could be mistaken, but what Honorable Kashira is asking for, which I was also going to ask, is not so much about who won the tender. Would you have a position as to who the ownership structure of Adachem is like?
If this committee may want those documents, it's unfortunate we didn't bring them, but we can submit them. That will show the directors and everything. Yes. But to us, they just applied just like any other company.
Okay, any further questions? This
Okay. You indicated that on the 22nd of March, that's when you submitted your request to rehabilitate your silos. I may want to know, was that a follow-up to your budgetary requirements, or it was just a fresh request that was going to the treasury? Because my understanding is such rehabilitations are supposed to be budgeted for, and from the way you are indicating how the payments were made suggests it might not have been budgeted for, and probably it was budgeted for. Our interest is also to know what then happened to the budget allocation if you were asked to pay from your account that you are keeping with the RBZ. How was it like?
Honorable, can I ask the finance director to answer that?
Okay, thank you, Chairman. The amount was, yes, budgeted for, but you would want to know that I think in that year we are talking about, in the blueprint there was 55 million, which was not enough to have covered all the grain purchases, the capitals, the capex and whatever. So what we were then asking, because the RBZ account was basically receiving money from the sales we had done to millers. Then we were then given a dispensation to then draw from there to pay for this capital project.
Thank you, Chair. I'm just reviewing. I don't think I had an answer from Mr. Mtena on one of my questions, which I said, did you directly receive funding from RBZ as GMB? From RBZ?
I think what we are basically saying is the account which was at RBZ was a GMB account which was receiving money. So that's the money we're drawing, not directly from RBZ coffers, but from the sales we are making to millers.
Okay, thank you. On that issue for RBZ, let me just read out something to you. RBZ allocated 27,700,000 to GMAS. This amount was for weeks. Why would GMAS access 27 million for weeks and maize when your responsibility is the same?
Thank you, Honorable. Yes, our role as the Grain Marketing Board is to ensure that the country has got enough food, which is maize and wheat, whether from the local purchases or from exports. In this particular case, we had also submitted an application as Grain Marketing Board, and it had been approved. At one stage, we had been allocated 22 million. But before we started, the movements and signing of contracts, RBZ then said to us, no, we can't have a parallel structure where we've allocated private sector money to bring in wheat, and they are also bringing in wheat. So we would rather let them bring wheat, and then this money which we have given you, we allocate it to other need areas. So this is what happened that time. But otherwise, the responsibility of ensuring food security in the country is under the control of government. It must be imported by GMB.
Just one clarity there.
Yes.
You had been allocated 22 million.
Yes.
And then before drawdown
Yes.
and signing of contracts
Yes.
and term sheets,
Yes.
RBZ withdrew that offer
Yes.
and said we can't have a parallel structure.
Yes.
Meaning you are the parallel, you're running parallel to GMAS. They then gave GMAS 27 million instead of you 22 million. So they recognized GMAS more than you. Is that correct?
It looks like they had already allocated GMAS that amount of money.
Who at RBZ told you that they can't have parallel?
It's the governor. We were dealing with the governor himself.
Okay. Was that in writing or verbal?
No, I went to his office it was a follow-up of this money, and I was with the finance director. Then he said, no, we are withdrawing this exercise, and then we let the private sector, because they've already started running with it, so we cannot have two organizations going for the same thing. So we withdrew.
Honorable Sikawan.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. You indicated that the Treasury would normally have funded the renovations to your works. Is it, I've got two questions. Is it anomalous for the same Treasury to then ask you to use your own resources to carry out that work, when yet initially it is their responsibility to do that? And secondly, when you do carry out these renovations, do you have any other government departments being involved in the supervision of how the works are carried out for accountability and cross-checking purposes? Thank you, Chair.
Yes, the rehabilitation of silos and so on, this is the responsibility of government. But when we see that money is coming late and the contractors have to be paid, to avoid litigation, we had to use our own money, on the understanding that we will be refunded.
Clarification, Chairman. What I'm now hearing is GMB took it upon themselves to carry out the work, but initially I think I heard that they were instructed by GMB to use their monies, which is which now?
By Treasury.
Rather by Treasury. What we are now hearing is GMB felt that works were falling behind and they took a decision to use their own monies, but initially we heard that they were instructed by Treasury to use their own monies. My question was initially, was it anomalous for Treasury to ask GMB to use their monies when yet it's Treasury's responsibility to carry out the works or fund the works?
What normally happens, Honorable, is that whatever money we receive from grain sales is Treasury money. It's not GMB. This is strategic grain reserve, it's Treasury money, which we are then instructed, because what should normally happen is it should go to Treasury, then Treasury sends it back to us. But because it was resident, it was faster to then draw it from that account, then we drew it from there. Then on the 1 million which has been referred.
Sorry, before we go there, Chairman, if I may, I don't think it helps us to double talk. Right at the beginning of the presentation, we were told there were two sources of monies. Now we are being told that money that's generated from sales is effectively Treasury money.
Okay, Honorable Sikawan.
I need clarity on that, Chairman.
There is once clarification on that, but before the clarification.
But I also had another question which hasn't been answered. And that was to do with whether there's input from other government departments in supervising the works when they are being carried out, or you do it yourself. Thank you, Chairman. I'm sorry for interrupting you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Honorable. What I want to make this committee to understand is that we are an agent of government. Treasury gives us money to go and buy maize. The maize does not belong to the GMB. The maize belongs to Treasury because they are the ones who give us money to go and buy. We are only providing a service of buying and keeping the maize. If we sell it, we put it into an account. That's why the account is not resident at GMB. It is resident at the RBZ, and we don't just go and get that money without authority from them. So when we were paying for works that was done, it was entirely up to them either to give us money themselves from their other sources or to instruct us to get money from that account. And in this particular case, we got money from that account. As far as we are concerned, it's a Treasury's money. because it's not GMB's money, because the maize that we sell does not belong to GMB, it belongs to Treasury. Therefore, that money belongs to Treasury. If they instruct us to get it from there, it is still their money which we are using to pay for the works that have been done.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is there an element of a retaining fund before you submit to Treasury?
We do not retain anything at all. We receive, in fact, when anyone buys maize, we merely give him the account number and they deposit money into that account number. It does not come via GMB and then GMB deposits, no. A miller comes to us, I want to buy 30 tons of maize, we give him the account number, they deposit money into that account. And that account is strictly monitored by Treasury and RBZ on a daily basis. So they know what is in that account every day. And if we want to use that money, we have got to get authority from them before we use it. Otherwise, we merely read through Ministry of Agriculture, that's our parent ministry, requesting for payments. Ministry of Agriculture writes to Treasury. Treasury then instructs us. Thank you.
Okay. I'm actually making a follow-up to my earlier question on the issue of the budget. You indicated that you had a budget of 55 million in the year that is in question. My question is, the use of your monies held in the account, maybe with RBZ, was that a supplement to your budget, or it was just a way in which you were just paid, but coming from the 55 million which you were allocated in that particular year as budget? Was that in addition to your 55 million, or it was just a payment method which was done, but still utilizing your allocation from the treasury of 55 million?
I think the 55 million is what I was referring to, what was in the blue book. But you would find that obviously our expenses or expenditure was far more than that. Because if you look at the farmers, what we paid to the farmers in that year was almost 300 million, which was by far over that 55 million. Therefore, I would say it was over and above that what was allocated in the blue.
Thank you, Honorable Chairman. Reference the 27 million that was offered, allocated to GMAS for the importation of wheat. What does the policy say regarding imports of such strategic food items like wheat? And also, I would like to know whether did you offer any service for this transaction, delivery, wheat delivery and storage, on behalf of the Great Mineral Association?
Thank you, Honorable. I will start with the last one, whether we offered any services. We did not offer any services to the Grain Millers Association because they were doing it independently of the Grain Marketing Board. They did not consult us. We were not involved in the importation of their wheat. We were also just reading it in the newspapers just like anyone else. Otherwise, we were not involved at all. Now, coming to the issue of policy on importation, I think the Ministry of Agriculture and Ministry of Finance would be in a better position to answer that one. Otherwise, if we are requested to import, then we proceed and import. Thank you.
Okay, Honorable Monge.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. they get directly transferred to the buyer. So in other words, you are not handling anything. You mean whatever tuna from what you are saying. So I would also want to get a clarification on what is the role of the finance or the finance department or the finance wing in GMB. Because in other words, you're not handling anything. This is the picture that you're giving us. Do you know government, you know, my transactions are in India just an agent in the rules of facility, but in terms of money, it's like so what is the role your finance department really?
Thank you, Honorable. This is how government is structured. When we are buying maize, for example, we request money and the money comes and then we do the payment. We are facilitating. If a miller wants to buy maize, we give him the account number. He pays into that account. We do the reconciliations and submit to them on a monthly basis or a weekly basis so that they see the payments against the maize that will have been purchased. He does not receive money from the millers or anyone who is buying maize. It's deposited into that account. The only money that he receives is when he wants to pay us as farmers. After requesting and after we have submitted the schedules showing who is supposed to be getting money, what tonnage, when did he deliver, that money comes to GMB and he pays the farmers. That is his role is to do reconciliations of purchases and drawdowns. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For the purposes of today's meeting,
Yes.
we had called you to the purpose of the meeting was for you to brief the committee on the progress of SlyMedia Tv is funded by Grain Association of Zimbabwe, of which maybe you should just reconfirm that you never received any funding from them, directly or indirectly. You never entered into a contract with them, and then what they are saying that Mr. Sarari told us that GMAS gave GMB 9 million. He didn't say treasurer or RBZ. He said GMAS gave GMB 9 million US dollars in 2017, and even his PhD is waiting for the report in how he will use the money. Yes.
Thank you, Chair. I can confirm that we did not receive money from GMAS. We received money from government for payment of works that was done. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chena. And before we conclude, did you receive any letter from GMAS suspending millers? Have they written letters to you?
Yes, we've received a letter. It's one letter, isn't it? 2 letters. Where he suspended millers.
So the letters you were being, what were the contents of the letters? Was he instructing you not to deal with those millers?
Yes, he would say this has been suspended and please stop dealing with them, something like that. But we don't get instructions from Grain Millers Association. We carry out our own investigation whether there's been any violation of abuse of maize that that person will have gotten in the past. If there is no abuse in as far as we are concerned, we will ignore that, because if there is just politics in their own organization, we do not want to be meddled in those organizations. We merely look at whether there has been abuse or whether the miller who has been suspended has violated anything towards government assets. if we are satisfied that there's nothing wrong in his dealings with us, in spite of that letter, we continue doing business with him because he is willing to save the country, to feed the nation. Thank you.
Thank you. Are you able to provide all the letters written to you by Mr. Sarara, sustaining winners and instructing you to deal with winners? And also, will you highlight to us where you got the powers to instruct a honest data from his private office? Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. I think we are about to conclude the meeting. I'll just give opportunities to Honorable Shir Bani. Next time, Honorable Bani, conclude with you.
Sure, thank you.
Mic on.
kana GMB iri ndio iyo reserve yechikafu mochizoimportwa wheat ne-private player ku vanozoda kuzotenga wheat vangachizoiwana kuti from private player inenge sadhura here. 2 GMAS ine capacity here yekuchengeta wheat inenge chengeta GMB yakuchengeta neGMAS tichitesa neshortage yekuiti munyika muno zvanga zvisiri worth here kuti 22 million yakatenga wheat pane kuti itwe dzimwe yaita imwe mabasa iyo yanga vakapiwa chinhu ndeyewheat kuti GMAS ichitenga GMB ichitenga wheat kuti at least panyaya yewheat iri kushayikwa munyika inge yakaise yakawanda.
Thank you, Honorable. Hanikwanisa kupindura kuti ndizive kuti sei vakapiwa mari nokutiwo iro harisi bandiko redu zvokuti vanoichengetera ukupi isu hatina patikambovapa dura rekuchengetera, havana kuti aprochawo vachiti vari kuda dura rekuchengeta. Hatingazive kuti vakaichengetera ukupi, asi chatinoziva ndechekuti isu takapiwawo mari kunzi importai chibage kana wheat. Iro ndo basa redu, tinokwanisa kuzviita chaizvo. Like now takatonziwo chigadzirirai kuimpota wheat. We are doing all the necessary arrangements dzokuti tiwane mari yekuimpota wheat. Apa takatopiwa instruction naminister wedu welands, agriculture and rural resettlement.
Thank you, Chairman. My question is maybe more directed to the operations manager, Mr. Jassy. Out of interest, you have GMAS millers coming to buy maize from GMB, correct? Have we ever made follow-ups to these millers to see if they are really milling or some of them are buying for forward selling or export of the maize that they buy from you as operations department? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Yeah, for the millers that purchase grain from Grain Market Board, in terms of allocations, we've been obviously looking at basing the allocations on their capacity, their monthly capacity or weekly capacity, and we allocate maize as such. Then if they are to make another purchase, normally we want to check whether they've actually finished the initial allocation. But with our enterprise risk department that actually does those inspections. So yeah, in some cases, yeah, we get to know of some illicit dealings of some certain millers. But once we get wind of that, we normally suspend the purchases.
Thank you.
Just a supplementary question. Recently, you've increased the price of maize from 390, I think, to 726, if I'm not mistaken. But when you go out there, maize is going to be much more expensive than that. So there's this risk that people are going to come and buy maize from GMB and sell into the outside world. What's your plan on that? to curb that.
It's now outside
Was Chairman.
My question, I just want to. I was asking them why the new.
Oh, that one.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, thank you so much for the documents that we requested. Any documentation we got from grade leaders, suspending other ones, give you instructions as a pastor to act on the letter. When can you get the documents?
Even tomorrow we can make them
Michael.
available.
The mic one?
Even tomorrow we can make them available.
Tomorrow what time?
Before 10 o'clock.
Before 10 o'clock.
Yes.
I think this one should let's keep.
Can they bring Adakem as well?
Thank you very much.
Adakem papers, Chairman. The Adakem papers, Chairman. Can they also bring?
No, they no, they'll provide them tomorrow. And the guys who are doing food inside of the other.
Yeah, that's Adakem. Yeah.
Whatever profile we have.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
they can be contracts and everything.
Whatever, yes.
We need to know the structure of that organization.